I literally just woke up, as you can tell. But I had a bunch of dreams last night that I really want to share with you. But before I do that, I need to explain to you how my intuition works. Um, I don't get downloads. I'm not going to be that person who says that. I get messages from people who've passed on. It's a very common thing for me. I will see pictures and clips and phrases. A lot of it comes through almost like puzzle pieces that I need to try and figure out how they fit, or even what the picture is on the puzzle piece, because I only see sometimes blips of it, like a number or, a code, or, it's random. But when I dream, I know that when I wake up and I've had a very vivid dream where I can remember very specific details and colors and things, I know that that matters. So maybe that is kind of like a download, I would suppose. But it happens in my dreaming state. So I share a lot of videos that are of my dreams. So now let me tell you what I had last night. I had a dream that I was a teenager and I was in a school, and you know how that test, that dream where you don't know the answers to the test, or you have to take a test. Well, in my dream, I knew that I had 3 exams the next day, and that the 3 exams were with 3 teachers. One of the teachers was nice, one of the teachers was difficult, and one of the teachers was not going to allow me to take the test a second time. And I was trying to figure out how to figure out what I needed to study. I was a good student in school. So this was important to me. I wasn't going to just blow it off. At one point, I considered blowing it off and seeing what the consequences would be, because I've never really done that before. I had considered sleeping in and calling in sick and taking the test at a later date, to give myself more time to try and figure out what it was I needed to study. And I also figured maybe I could just crunch course this test. I had a friend in the dream who stopped talking to me because they were pissed off that I had the teachers that they wanted, and I was going into my senior year of high school with all of her dream schedule, and she didn't get what she wanted, and she was mad at me about that. And then I was also in charge of helping. It started off with like a prom type environment, but there were all these girls, and they were not very nice. They were mean girls kind of thing. And but I felt that if I was nice to them, that I would get less of kickback. So I had volunteered to help them with their hair and whatnot for their prom. One of the girls was wearing a long, it was like a bluish black dress that had suns and moons on it. And she had this lace overlay. It wasn't lace, it was like a mesh overlay. But the thing is like you could see the suns and moons underneath it, but it was kind of not. So that was one girl. There was another girl who was wearing, she seemed younger. Excuse me. She seemed younger, but she had a dress that was like silver and gold shimmery material, and it was stiff and it was itchy, the kind you would see from like the 1960s. And it was a very 1960s design. And I told her how lovely she looked in it, and she said, "Yes, I'm dressed like the girl who was the child of the child of the president or something like that from the JFK movie." And so that's what she was like. She was like, it was some character in a JFK movie, and I can't remember. In my dream, I knew who it was, and I thought it was like the daughter. And then the third one was wearing this gold lame kind of dress. It was very, very well, very, expensive looking. And she was just going on about how she just didn't like it. And I said to her, I was like, well, I might have some dresses you could borrow if you want. You want me to go and look and see what I have? And she says, oh no, I'll just go out and buy all of them. And she's like, whatever I don't wear, I'll just give away, because I just give away. She's like, I'm nice like that. I just give away the things I don't use. And so that was the third one. And then the fourth one, there was, she was convinced that she could be naked at this prom. and that everyone was going to still think that she looks good without her clothes on. And there was no talking to her. You couldn't say, no, you really shouldn't do that. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. She was like, no. She's like, I look better than all of you when I have no clothes on. So I was like, okay. And there were other little words that were, things like they were picking on me, saying that they didn't want my kind of hairstyle because I like half bangs instead of full bangs. I don't really know what that meant. There was a couple of other things like somebody was trying to return a video to a video store, but they didn't know their passcode, and they couldn't return something because they didn't have the passcode to return it. But anyway, so as this stream was going on, I also, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking I have to take these tests, and I'm stressing about it. And they had left this big, huge mess of stuff, and it was all this clothing, and I was trying to pick it up, and I was folding it and trying to put it away, and they were still grabbing it out of my hands and making a mess of it again, and I was getting very frustrated because I knew I still had this test that I had to take, and that was very, very stressful. And then this dream morphed into how they were all up on stage they were doing it was Grease, but it was not Grease. So it was kind of like one of those modern remakes of Grease using modern songs, but it was the same basic principles of Grease. And they were all wearing costumes that were picking on people with disabilities. And you know that song, it goes like, ah, pata, pati, or whatever it is. They were singing it, but they were saying, ah, pata, tick. And they were picking on people with tics, and they were getting up on stage and standing up to a microphone and singing parody songs that were picking on people with disabilities and tics. And I have a child that has a tic, so to me, I knew instantly that was not being nice. It made me angry. It made me very angry. And so then I was looking, and all the people on the ground, they're like, "You worked so hard to help put this production on. Why aren't you on stage?" And I said I didn't have a part, and I wasn't, I didn't have a part of this. I was just helping to be kind. And they said, "Oh, right, it's because of your student ID." They were like, "Oh, your student ID, that's why you're not allowed to participate. You can work all you want, but you're not allowed to be on stage. You're not allowed to." And I didn't know what that meant. And I pulled the card out of my thing, and it wasn't me. It was definitely not me. I was not in this ID. I was not a white American woman. I was ethnic, and I had dark skin. I was beautiful, but I had dark skin, and I was like, wait, but that's not me. And they're like, what do you mean that's not you? That's you. You're not allowed to participate. You're only allowed to help. You're not allowed to be here. You can do all the work, but you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to be on stage. You can't participate. And so that was my dream. And there's a lot in there. There's a real lot in there to tear down. And if I remember some of the other details, there's a lot more that I think I'm missing, because there were a lot of random things. Like at one point, there was this guy, and he wanted to, nobody knew who he was, and he was working behind the scenes, but I was trying to figure out who he was, and I could see his face for glimpses as he was peeking in the window, but like the windows kept fogging over, and the more I kept kind of clearing it, the less I was able to like tell you exactly who it was. There was another part of the dream where there was a guy, one of the tics that came up, they were trying to say that his tic was that he was good in science. And his girlfriend was waiting off in the wings, and she was just egging him on and making him get up there. And he was embarrassed. And he was like, my tic is that I'm good in science, but I have to go because I have an assignment and a test to study for. And that was one of the tics. I don't want to say what some of the other tics were, because it just it breaks my heart. I didn't like that. And, but yeah, so that's kind of how I'm getting along on this video. That's kind of what I got last night. I do have a couple of messages that I've been collecting over the day or so that I've kind of sat on and said, hey, should I share this or should I not? I think I might share some versions of it. And so I'll probably do that in a little bit, but have fun with that one.